Hey everybody, this is Cadroll Hunter, and I did something. I was out yesterday and I wandered into an antique store, and as I always do, I looked around to see if they had any coins, and I found this group here in front, and I bought all of these here for $30, and you'll see there's some very old coins in here. And I asked if there were any more, and he said, "Oh, I got a big box over here." And I ended up buying this pretty much sight unseen for $100. So I spent $130. We're going to find out, did I get a good deal? Did I do poorly? Did I find anything interesting in here? I was told there might be some silver, so we'll see. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel Cadroll Hunter, and yesterday I was taking a drive in beautiful Stratford, Ontario. Stratford lies between London, Ontario and Kitchener-Waterloo on the Avon River. If you think you've heard of it, a couple reasons. It's the home of Justin Bieber. That's one thing. The other thing is it's also the home of this Stratford Shakespearean Festival, which draws in lots of tourists from all over. In any case, I was taking a little bit of a drive and I passed by a little shop called Three Squirrels Antiques that just happened to be open. I've driven by before when it's been closed, and so I thought I'd peek in and see, as I always do, if they've got coins. Well, I found these ones here in a little bin, and I kind of looked through and picked out the ones that I thought were most interesting. There's some pretty nice Canadian large cents and a pretty good opportunity to add coins for the first time to my brand new Lighthouse Vista large cent album. So if I pick up anything along the way, we're going to fill it up in this album here. We can't usually get those in coin roll hunts, so this is the way to do it. But I asked the owner, Tim, did you have any other coins? They said, oh yeah, there's another bin over there. And there was a box with all of these coins. So I had already purchased these ones in the front. And just to show you, there's a coin here from England from 1817 with George III on it. And that was a little while ago, if you're not familiar with George III. And then check this one out. 1788. That would be one of the oldest coins in my collection. So we'll look at these in more depth, but I paid $30 for these ones after I picked them up. There's some silver in here. This is silver, silver, silver. And so I was pretty excited about those. The rest of these coins, I just said, what do you want for the whole lot? And I didn't want to look through them. I was more interested in getting them home and taking a look and seeing if we could discover anything. So we landed on $100. He said there's some silver in there. You might be surprised about what's in there. So we'll see. A lot of what I can see is international coins, world coins. And world coins often sell by the pound. And so we didn't do that here. We didn't weigh it. But I did put it on the scale here that I've got. And so what we've got is 7.6 and a bit pounds of world coins for me to go through. I can see there's some common current circulating stuff. There's some 70s and 80s stuff. There's also some older stuff that I can see. And as I was weighing the bags, I thought I saw a couple silver anyway. So I thought what we would do is go through this and see if I got a good deal for my $130 that I spent on all of these coins. So what we'll do, I'm going to go through them probably bag by bag. I'll show you all the interesting things. And as we go through, we'll put a tally on the bottom of the screen here that is going to show where we sit. Did I make any money, theoretically speaking? Did I get a good deal? We'll see what the value is here. And I'm not going to put a value for every single coin. I'm just going to look at the ones that I think have value beyond what we paid. Essentially, in a pound, there's typically 100 coins. I looked at eBay listings, and in all honesty, what I paid is probably on par with what I might have paid if I had bought a lot of coins online. I would have also had to pay shipping, and it probably wouldn't have been a good deal. But I essentially paid 13 cents a coin for this if we look at each pound being about 100 coins, which seems to be about the average as these listings show. So let's get into it and see what we got and if I got a good deal. To help me value my Canadian coins, I've got my Charlton Standard Catalog, the Canadian coins here. This is going to show me all of the prices. It's going to show me errors and varieties, things that I can look for if I find any of my Canadian coins in here. And for my international coins, what I'm going to do is use the Numista website and maybe look at eBay to see if there are some listings, recent sales for interesting coins. So that's how I'm going to value the coin. So let's dig in. So we'll start with these Canadian large cents. I picked out from a whole bunch the ones that I thought had the best detail, or the best versions, or simply the oldest. There were a couple of other Victoria 1 cents, but they were in pretty terrible condition. This one's got some wear on the obverse, but this is an 1898. If I flip it over, it's actually got great detail on the obverse here. And yeah, you can see a lot of detail on Victoria. So that was a cool pickup for sure. And then I picked up a handful of these ones here with, this one is George V. So this is a 1911. This is a first year George V. And you can see it's got full band of the crown, full jewels in the band of the crown. Those are the high points of the coin. So, and this one has an interesting effect on the planchet. There's another one here too, but it's got great detail. It's in good shape. This one here is a, if I can get it to focus, a 1916, again with some good detail. This one here might be more like a VG. You can see there is some, or a low F maybe. It's got a little bit of wear at the top of the band of the crown there, right in the middle. That's the high point. And then we've got a couple of 1917s that I picked out. So here is a 1917, again with lots of detail on the band of the crown, lots of detail on the obverse. I really like that. And then I picked out this next one because it was very interesting. This is also a 1917. And if you look at this, it's got a very interesting effect. It might be a little bit of corrosion, but it also might be a part of the planchet. I've seen some of these older large cents that have this sort of speckled variation, multicolored sort of appearance, and you can sort of see lines through it. So I don't think it's damaged so much as it's just the planchet. But again, if you look, it's got lots of great detail, just a little bit of wear at the band of the crown. These will be great additions to that large cent album. Next up, another large cent. This one isn't from Canada though. This is an 1885 from the UK. Now this one is pretty worn. It's not in great shape. I picked this one up just because it's just an old coin with Queen Victoria on it. And I really liked that. I don't think I've got that 1885, so that was a cool one too. In this $30 lot, we've also got this 2 shillings from 1942. This is 50% silver, and this coin is 11.3 grams. So it's worth at least $5 Canadian in its silver content alone, but another cool 40s silver coin for my collection. And this one's pretty exciting. This is a 6 with George III from 1817 from the United Kingdom. That is just a very cool old coin. And check out this incredibly old coin. This is a 1788, a grosz korony, 1788 Polish coin. This is just incredibly cool. One of the oldest coins in my collection for sure. And here's another old silver coin, 1876. Anytime you can see an 18 in front of the date, you know you got a good one. This is 10 ore from Sweden, and it's 40% silver. And here's an oldie from Germany. This one's copper. It's 1859, 1 Pfennig. Probably worth a few bucks for sure. Now this one was a little bit difficult for me to figure out. I had to use the Numista website, and I pulled it up here. This is from the Ottoman Empire. It's a Yermilik from the reign of Mahmud II from the Constantine Mint. And you can see this is 17% silver, and it weighs 1.75 grams. So this one is another oldie, and it's not in great condition, but I'm pretty happy to get an old Ottoman Empire coin. So you'll know by now if I did well with my $30 purchase with these coins right here. I'm going to have that running tally on the bottom. Now I'm going to get into these bags here. What I'm going to do, I think, is just dump each bag out one at a time and go through. I'm not going to show you all the coins. That's crazy. There's hundreds of them. But I'm going to pull out any that are silver, any that are really old, or any that I think might be valuable. We'll take a peek at those together. We'll add those to our tally and see how we do as we go along. Well, we are going to find some silver in our first handful. This is just was the loose stuff in the bottom of the box, but there is a George V 6 from 1932. That is silver, so that's going to be added to the silver pile. There's a a couple of interesting things. 1949 from Hong Kong. That's just a cool coin with the crowned portrait of King George VI on that. Really neat. Nothing else in here that I think is terribly valuable. Even some modern stuff. Like there's a nickel. That is 5 cents. That'll get rolled up with my American stuff. And actually in here, here's a pretty nice looking 1956 Canadian penny with lots of mint luster. This might be an upgrade in my album. All sorts of stuff in that bag from all sorts of different countries, but we did find silver. We did find, there it is right here, 1910, 10 cents from the Straits Settlements. If I flip it over, it's got Edward VII on there. Pretty worn, probably worth a couple dollars in silver alone, but a 1910, that's cool. And we did find some older British stuff. Some half pennies, 1873 maybe, 1896. They're all pretty rough. 1914, 1901. So that's Queen Elizabeth, or Queen Victoria, I should say. And a 1899 again. And then some pretty rough pennies, 1915, 1948, 1936. So some cooler older stuff, and then getting into the more modern 60s. This one here is really beat up. And I don't know if you can see that date. It's an 1872. You can see the 7 and the 2 there, but this one's been treated pretty poorly, and you can barely make out Queen Victoria. But just a cool old coin. I don't know what's happened to it. And some other various ones here. Not a lot of value for a lot of the stuff in here. There's a Churchill medallion from 1955 from the UK. That's probably worth a buck anyway. And but we got silver in there, so I'll try to sort these out in piles by country just to keep sense of all of them. And yeah, we'll get the next bag going. Okay, I found something that I think is really interesting, and I'm not exactly sure what to make of it, and I wanted you to weigh in. Check this out. This is copper, it seems, and I can't make out anything. So I don't know if this is a blank planchet. This is what it looks like on this side for sure. Or if this is possibly an old coin that is just so worn that all of the devices are totally gone. I have no idea. I'd be interested to know what you think. A couple of things to note is that it is slightly smaller in diameter than a Canadian large cent. So you can see the comparison there. And the British half penny, the more modern half pennies that are, well, about the same size. And certainly larger than a British farthing. And if I throw it on the scale, we can get a bit of a reading to see what this is here. So let's just turn that on and throw our coin on here. It's 5.38 grams. So if you have any idea what that could possibly be, or if you think it's a blank planchet, let me know. If it's a blank planchet, that'd be really cool. I've never found one. I don't have one. And very interesting. I thought maybe it was initially a half penny that was really worn, because there have been some worn British coins so far, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And on the subject of unidentifiable coins, here are a couple more that were in here. So this one is clearly a coin. You can see it's got a reeded edge there. And it could be possible to try to identify it if we could see if we could decipher any of the devices, but I don't think so. It's pretty mashed down, pretty worn. I mean, somebody I think deliberately did that with this one. Same here. It doesn't have a reeded edge, but it's definitely a coin. You can see what seems to have been writing perhaps along the edge, but it has been very deliberately flattened, particularly on the one side. So interesting. I don't know what they're composed of. They're not magnetic, so they could be, this one could be copper. It's got a bit of a darker edge. I'm not sure that it's silver. Doesn't exactly have the sound of silver, but then again, it's pretty heavily damaged. This next bag looks like a lot of old copper, and then one Ike dollar, 1978, just in there for good measure, and some in flips. So I'll take a look. I'll try to organize this, and we'll see if there's anything interesting and older and valuable in here. So there was a lot of British stuff in there, and some real oldies, not all in great condition, but check this out. These are British pennies from 1860, two of them, 1861, 1866, And then we've got 1876 and 1891. In these flips, they're a little hard to tell with the glare, but I think that's an 1890 or 1882 and then an 1897. And then later on, we've got a 1904, 1909, 1916, 1819, 20, 21, 28, and then a string in the 30s, 30, 35, 36, 36, 38, 38, 39, and then one in the 40s and some newer ones. And then there's another handful here in these flips. The dates are hard to read, but these are King George V and King Edward. And here's, let's see, a 1917. So lots of oldies. These are pretty worn. These ones from the 1860s. You can see Victoria there, the outline, but not a lot of detail. I'm not sure if they fetch a lot of value, but any coins that are 150, 160, 170 years old, just incredible. Similarly, in the half pennies, we got some almost dateless. This one looks like it might be from the 1860s. That could be an 1862 or 3. Again, you can barely make out Queen Victoria. I'd have to do some work to really get some dates off of these ones here, but I can probably do it. This one might be 1890 something. We'll see. There's a 1912 and a couple later ones, 39 and 49. And for interest's sake, we got a couple of pressed pennies. This one here is the USS Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor. And if we flip it over, you can even make out what it is. It's a 1977 Denver. And then there's another one here from Universal Studios and some coins from the Caribbean and other European countries. So this is somebody's collection from probably traveling and, collecting some world coins. Hopefully we got a lot to go through. We find more silver and more valuable stuff in here. It'll be really cool. The next bundle here is pretty much all German coins and some of these aluminum East Caribbean states coins. Nothing really interesting. There are a couple of older ones from the 50s and I saw one from the 40s, but there's really nothing interesting or valuable in this bunch. Moving on. In our next handful, again, mostly some pretty common international coins. There were a few that had a bit of the look of silver here, but these are actually aluminum, mostly from the Second World War. But we did get one silver. We got 10 shillings from Austria from 1970, and this is 64% silver, so that's cool. We'll add that to our tally. A couple of other interesting things. There was an old Canadian stamp in here. You'll see that. And I also noticed in here an old TTC, Toronto Transit Commission subway token. And I'll look and see if there's anything else that I missed in here or anything older. Take a peek. Here are a couple of things that I just uncovered, and these are meat rations from the war. Canada ration meat viande, which is the French word for meat. And these look to be in pretty good condition. I've run into these before. I don't know how much value they have. I'll have to look it up online and see, but these ones appear to be in very nice condition. The next handful, I don't see anything obviously silver or anything terribly old or interesting. I'll take a closer look and stack them up by country. If I find anything, I'll bring you in. Otherwise, we'll move on. And in that pile, we're going to find some silver, some Canadian silver, about 1.5 or a little bit more than 1.5 at that. We'll take a look at this guy first. This is a Canadian 5-cent coin. If I get the lighting right, you can see 5 cents Canada 1919, and it's King George V. It would be perhaps in a bit of a VG condition, except that it has been bent. It's been damaged. So it's worth melt. It's probably worth a little over $1 in silver. But this other one right here, it's basically been torn apart and sheared in half. I don't know if we're going to get a date off of this one. It's just gone. 5 cents Canada. We know it is King George V as well, but I'm going to have a hard time finding out what year it is unless I find the other half of this coin somewhere in this. It looks like it's been ground off or sanded off or something very strange. But it's more silver, and we can add that to the total too. Same handful, and we're going to have some more silver. There is a hold coin with Queen Victoria. We have to flip it over to see what it is. This is 3 pence from 1883, I think. I'll have to put this under the scope just to see if I can get that date right. Could be an 88. There it is, most definitely in 1883. So it's just probably worth melt value minus a little bit at the top and the bottom that has been drilled out. Here's a 1951 Canadian penny. Still has some of its mint luster in the middle, and when I flip it over, it's got some marks. This looks like it might have been in somebody's album. The detail is excellent, but it looks like it's been sitting against something. But a very nice condition, 1951. Same handful. Here's another one, 1951. If I flip it over, again, this is in beautiful condition. It's got some interesting toning, but it's largely in uncirculated condition. That is a nice surprise. Same bundle, more silver. There's a 1917 3 pence. It's damaged, so it's really just worth the silver content, but I'll take silver any day of the week. King George V. So no more silver in that bunch, but we did get some older British coins. There's a 1921 farthing, and above that we've got some half pennies, 1905, 1910. There's a 1960 with some mint luster on it. And then in the 1 pennies, an 1880, a 190. Well, we'll have to take it out to see what that is. It's King Edward VII. And that date, if we can get it focused, that's a 1902. There we go. And then we got 1918, 1948, and then again a 1960. So we're finding some cool things, and there's a stack of British pounds. That's worth some money if I could spend it. I just can't spend it here. Now here's something you don't see every day. A 15-cent coin, a square coin at that, from 1966. I'll flip it over, and it's from the Bahamas. A square 15-cent coin. Very cool. Another handful. It looks like we've got some Dutch coins, some British coins. Nothing doing here. A small group of coins here. These ones all look to be from Southeast Asia or Asia proper. There's something from Singapore, 20 cents. A lot of these have characters on them that I can't read. If I look them up on Numista, I'm sure I'll be able to identify them all. But I don't see anything interesting or silver in here. Well, we're down to the wire here. I'm down to this last plastic tray that was sitting in there. And I don't see silver off the bat here, but there are some interesting things. There's an older British penny, 1910. We've got some steel cents here. That's cool. And I see a brilliant looking Canadian nickel. That is a 1953. Gorgeous. And we'll want to take a closer peek at that one and see if it is a rare variety or not. I have got that under the scope, and you can see that this is the no shoulder fold. It's got that flared eye. The serif is pretty strong on there. If we look down, we see like a little mark here, but we don't see the full strap on the coin here. And the other thing we want to look at is the maple leaf on the reverse to see if it is near to these denticles or far. And I think this is the far, and it's the common one. If it was the near one, it would actually be worth hundreds of dollars in this condition. But even so, with the common version, this one is worth at least $3 or $4 any day of the week in this condition. This is a beautiful coin. Just look at that. We got 4 steel cents. They are all in varying degrees of, decrepitude, I'd say, but they're all 1943 out of Philadelphia. But they're definitely cool to find. Well, that is pretty much that. I mean, we found in this last bunch some more U.S. coinage, just a stack of dimes. There's nothing silver. There's nothing old. There's a Kennedy half dollar, very common from 1976, and another 1978 Ike dollar. And a couple of Canadian circulation coins here. There's a 50-cent piece from 1979. Not a keeper. It's worth 50 cents, though. And a 1973 RCMP commemorative, but it's not the rare large bust. This is the common small bust. So it's worth 25 cents. We can roll it up and take it to the bank. So that is it. I've got a huge stack of coins from different countries all over the map here, and some tokens and like gaming tokens and weird things over there. And some of our older British finds and Canadian finds here, as well as what we found in silver. So I'll have to give you the final count and tally and see how we did. I'll certainly let Tim know how we did. I'm not sure if he thought I would have done worse or better than this, but so far, I'm not unhappy with what we got. We found silver, and that was really cool. And we found some really cool old coins, particularly some of those British cents and half cents to add to my collection. So not a bad day. And it's always lots of fun to go through, 7.5 pounds of coins, looking at interesting foreign coins that you don't normally see. So let me know how you think I did. You see the total on the screen there, $119.40. And obviously that's a rough estimate. That's give or take based on the resources and information that I could find. But that's not for all of the coins that you see here. That's just the handful that I pulled out. The oldest coins, the nicest coins, the silver coins. I just cherry picked the ones that I thought were valuable. And the fun's not nearly over for me either, because my next step is to go through these all over again. I'm going to add the ones to my collection. I've got binders of international coins. Typically, I have coins from the 60s and earlier in 2x2 flips, like this one here, in binders. The modern stuff beyond that, unless it's a beautiful or a rare coin, it just goes into a world coin bin that I have. But otherwise, I'm going to look to see if this will fill any of the spots in my binders. So I'll be looking through all of these again. And there are literally hundreds of coins here that I didn't assign a value to. So let me know how you think I did. I paid $130 for everything, and there are definitely some very cool coins in here and some really old coins too that I'm going to really enjoy having in my collection, including these ones right here in the front. Let me know how you think I did. Did I overpay? Did I underpay? Would you do anything like this? Let me know in the comments. And I couldn't wait to get started on putting some of these coins away in my collection, especially getting a start on this large cent album, this Lighthouse Vista. And we have some coins here, one right on the first page here, that 1898H. And if I flip the page, we've got that 1911, 1916, and a 1917. I just picked the one that I thought had better eye appeal in the album. But we got to start. We got 4 coins in the book, and I got a whole lot more coins to go through for my albums. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Cadroll Hunter, please do that now. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.